All right, so we just saw Alita, Battle Angel. Sorry for the late review. I was out of town, so just catching up on a few flicks. I know I'm awful. Funny thing,
this was a long day because you just got back, so we did... Let's see,
we watched the movie.
So we were talking to...
spoilers.
Who cares?
That's coming up.
No, I'm just saying, like, my voice is sore, and I'm trying to wonder why. I'm like, oh yeah, we've been talking all day.
Yeah, no.
Because then we did How to Train Your Dragon earlier, because we saw that weeks ago.
Yeah.
So we were talking all throughout X-Men for the real thoughts, and now we've got, like, this.
And then we saw a movie, which, of course, we talked all through.
Actually, we did. Because there were hardly anybody in the IMAX, and we're a-holes that way.
But we should...
And it was a very loud movie, so I was shouting a lot.
Yeah. But we should build up. We actually, because a lot of people going, it's like, I don't know what the anime is like, or the manga, or anything.
We have a history.
Well, we actually do have a history.
This is one of our favorites.
Battle Angel is actually the first anime I've ever seen. I'm sure I've seen like Speed Racer and Transformers count, stuff like that.
We saw it on VHS in, what was it, 96?
Maybe like 95, 96.
Yeah.
And an art teacher actually recommended to me, said,
it came out in 94, so it was very close to that.
Yeah, she said, do you know what Japanimation is? Back when it was called Japanimation. And I'm like...
Yo, that's racist!
And I'm like, I don't know, I think so? Like the big eyes, kind of thing? And she said...
Well, that's apropos for the movie.
Exactly. And she said, you ought to see this thing called Battle Angel. And just as soon as I saw that image of, like, just the girl with the crazy hair, but, like, the really, beaten up robotic body and this cool coat, the long coat. I mean, it was everything I loved in an image that I thought was badass, pretty much. That's why it's like, I try to get that imagery, like, in Devil Boner and stuff like that. The crazy hair, the crazy outfit, stuff under the eyes. So I just fell in love with it, and I liked it. There's only two of them, the OVAs, but we both liked them. And then
it was a huge influence on us, I think.
Yeah.
And it was the first... so if you grew up in the 80s, you saw a lot of anime and didn't realize it because Nickelodeon was chock full.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not that we hadn't seen anime, but this was the first really adult anime because
before Akira,
we had not seen Akira yet. We saw Akira after Battle Angel OVA. So
this was like a big thing, and then only last week, while I was on vacation, I read the first volume of the manga because I saw it at the bookstore. I'm like, I should probably read this.
Now I read the whole manga, but that was 15 years ago.
Yeah, and what I like is that
my memory is like decent enough, but I'm a little sketchy on some things. But
what I like is they were different. It wasn't a direct word for word, scene by scene. Like, they were very different. It was the very basic idea, but they were there, and they sort of tapped into different themes, and but with the same general outline. So I really like that. It
was truncated, but it had to be because it was like, if I remember, the OVA was only like an hour long.
But even sort of the...
How do you adapt all of that into 1 hour?
Even some of the themes they focus on are a little different, which I like. I'm really happy for that. So there's pros and cons to
each one brings something new to the table, including this movie.
Yeah, so we have this movie that's not like a direct adaptation, which again I'm very thankful for. But it does still keep the same idea, kind of the same. It's a mishmash. They move things around, but they also add a few things.
It's bizarrely a combination of the OVA and the manga.
Yeah.
Which, if you're wondering how they got away with that, it's because James Cameron bought the rights to both, I think.
And apparently...
which is why... Because I love Battle Angel Alita, and I'm like, why haven't we gotten an anime? All these other things get remade into animes and spin-off series, and Alita never got it. One, it wasn't hugely successful in Japan, but two, with the popularity here, the cult following here, you would have thought that somebody would have capitalized. It's because Cameron bought the rights in 98. They can't make it.
Yeah, which after... If the maker of Titanic came to me and said I wanted to bite the rights, I'd be, buy whatever you want, man. Buy me, I don't care.
You had to imagine that Kishiro is like sitting there going like, okay. Like, at the time, I think he was the manga still going in 98? He may have been finished, but he's got to look at this like, the guy who made the most money on a film ever, just won God knows how many Academy Awards, wants to make this. All right. But I don't think anybody, including us, realized that meant we were going to have to sit on this for 21 years.
Well, he's wanted to do this movie for years. Like, I think even longer than Avatar, I think. Until finally he just said, I'm never going to get this damn thing made. I'll just give it to someone else. I'll produce it. And in my opinion, that was a good choice because I fucking love this movie. I really dug it.
I saw the trailers and I cried. And they were not tears of joy. They were, oh my god.
I was excited.
Another beloved anime. Another anime that I love is gonna get destroyed. It's gonna be like Ghost in the Shell. It's gonna like, why, God, why? And then when I got into this about 10 minutes in, I'm like, this is pretty solid. And then it was after the first action sequence where I just turned to you and I'm like, all right, we're good.
Yeah, I need to see how they did a fight.
I was like, I just need to see how the fight went down. And when I saw the fight and it was awesome, I'm like, all right, I was wrong. I can admit it. I was wrong.
Now, I will say this. I love this movie. I'll go into all the reasons why. There's a lot of reasons why. For the first half of this movie, I was saying, what the fuck is wrong with people?
I know.
This is awesome.
Like, only 60%? Why?
Yeah, which is still not bad. I mean, it's over half and stuff. But I mean, it's one of those things where it's like,
but this to me felt like it should have been an 85% movie.
Yeah, like a really high up there. And about halfway, even though I still was loving it, I was saying to myself, you know what? I'm seeing why some people sort of dropped down.
The chinks in the armor started showing.
Yeah, and we'll get into those too. But let's just go into what I love about this movie. First of all, the cast feels like it's nothing but 80s character actors.
I will say this, even looking at the trailer, the second it's like Christoph Waltz
You're like, perfect.
Ito, I'm like, you could not have created a human being to look more like Ito than Christoph Waltz. Just put the glasses on, give him the hat, give him the trench coat, sold.
The casting in this movie, there are only 2 people I think it didn't work, and they're not awful, they just didn't work how they probably should have, but the casting, I'm just like, first rate. Everyone, even the side characters, because I miss this in movies, they feel like 80s character actors, because they used to fill movies,
well, the fact
and that's
that
what made them so much fun.
Makes this feel like the lost 80s film that never was.
It looks amazing. The violence, I don't know what it's. I didn't check.
I wanted
what it's
a little
rated.
more violence.
No, I was gonna say I think it's PG-13.
But
it should have been an R. I wish it was an R.
Yeah, I wish this was a little more adult.
They pulled an Alien versus Predator where it's like, yeah, it's PG-13, but they have some loopholes, like, oh, well, they're machines, so you can do whatever they want. They just change the color blood. They're still getting mangled, put in machines. Their heads are getting crushed. You see their organs flying everywhere and stuff.
I always call that Evil Dead 2 rules, where they're just like, we can't get, like, an X rating or whatever. Well, we'll just make the blood green and black colored. Yeah, and it's still gory as hell. Like,
yeah, but it's still... It's still it's still a Rodriguez film. The fact that it's Robert Rodriguez, I love the shit out of Robert Rodriguez. I know people think I probably don't because I make fun of him with some of the kids' films and stuff, but I legitimately...
different. Spy Kids is its own different thing.
But even those are impressive kind of for what they are. I'm one of the few that love the second Sin City, and it's nice to see just like... I don't want to say return to form, because like I said, he did do style Sin City, but yeah, there is just a night. It's aggressive. It's an aggressive movie. It's a cool
great story.
movie.
And here's the other thing. Like, a lot of CGI battles to me kind of feel, a lot of times they'll act like an oomph, where it's just like, yeah, these are just CGI characters. I don't feel the impacts are real. Man, not in this movie. Like, the fights, I'm just like, wow, I feel like these things are really beating the crap out of each other.
The CGI, I mean, in my opinion, I think pretty much almost every character is as good as Gollum from Lord of the Rings, in my opinion. Now, Gollum didn't always look 100% realistic. You know, they're playing, and he's CG. But a lot of time you're like, damn, it really looks like he's there. And I didn't know watching the trailer, and I still, a lot of times watching this movie, I'm just so blown away that the woman who plays Alita, none of her is there. It is like Gollum, where they look at the facial expression, they say, okay, well, we'll transfer that, but like, all of that is CG. The clothes, the hair, the face, everything is CG.
And now that I've seen it on the big screen, I will say this. You can tell.
Okay, on the close-ups, definitely. Because, you can see the textures,
you came up to me like, I bet you know something, huh? And I'm like, what? It's just like, her entire body's like
No.
Okay,
I'm just like, let's get this right.
Screen, I can't really
Well, I was gonna say, let's get this right. I said, how much of her do you think is CG? And you're like, well, the eyes, obviously. I'm like, yeah, that's
the face is what I was going.
No, you said maybe a little bit of the face. I said 100%. The clothes, the shoes, everything is CG.
Okay.
Like, oh yeah. Well,
okay.
But no, I think you look at the textures on her.
On the small screen, it's a little... Well, the textures were hit and miss. If it's a metallic or plastic, like her first body with the plastic texture, it's pretty realistic. Her sweater and stuff, not so much.
See, I really thought
her pants, like it just depends. But that's the thing, we're seeing it in IMAX. On the small screen, sure, like I probably wasn't thinking about it when I was watching the trailer, and I'm like, yeah, but like now that I've seen it on the big screen, I'm like, yeah, no, it's not bad CGI.
No.
And considering what they're putting her through, like, because originally I'm like, why? Why do you need to CGI her entire character? And having seen the movie now, I'm like, okay, I get it. I get why you needed to do that. There's other design choices I have issues with that we'll get into, but I'm just like, I get why they needed to CGI, but if you're asking, like, yeah, it does look like CGI.
No, it's not something where I would...
the movie, though.
If I also watched this movie going in not knowing that, I would assume they only did the eyes, and then after a while, yes, you pick up, okay, the mouth has to be CG, the skin on the close-ups.
Skin was so smooth.
Okay, you can tell.
It was not looking right.
But I would not have guessed the rest was.
Your excuse, which I think is valid enough, is, well, she's supposed to be artificial.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that works as an excuse. My only problem is CGI has this quality of feeling like it's not really there. So even if she's supposed to be artificial, there were still times where I'm like, yeah, she just feels like she was digitally inserted in sometimes. Not all the times, but that's my issue.
With the exception of the fight scenes, where of course she's all CG there. I doubt they had a motion capture or anything.
And some of those were like, they were hit and miss, where I'm just like, oh man, no, it really looks like she's there. And other times I'm like, that when they did the I am getting a little sick of the, haha, we're gonna fight in that slow down.
But there's not...
Speed up again.
I feel like there's not that much.
They were way more...
That was my big fear.
They were way more judicious with it. And I'm like, you know what, okay, I'll take this every once in a while.
Yeah, that's fine, because that is anime,
There were a couple of them that were really cool. I mean, anime has speed lines and stuff, but I don't see that particular technique employed 1,000 times like it is over here.
No, but okay, here... I mean, when they do slow-mo, it's like somebody's flying, and then you'll hear the inner thought of the person flying, and the speed lines are going. It's like, well, technically that's not slow-mo, because the speed lines are going like that, but if they were really going that fast, it'd be over in a second, but somehow they're flying for a minute, you know?
That's something that a stylized animation can kind of get away with.
But that's why I'm saying. This is their version of that. This is their version of speed lines. Well, American version of speed lines, I should say.
If you say so. It looked like a lot of superhero movies to me, or Marvel movies, where they pull that kind of thing, or DC movies.
Same thing, but comic book movie, you know. But agree to disagree, but we're both kind of getting sick of it. But there's not that much of it here.
No, they used it just enough where I'm like, okay, no more, but we're good. Okay.
The acting in this, I think, like I said, about 90% of it is
I love you, Jennifer Connelly.
Notch.
Just want to throw that out.
Yeah, I didn't know I missed Jennifer Connelly.
How can you not miss Jennifer Connelly?
I like her fine, but I'm trying to think if I ever saw her as like a villain in something, and I was just like, man, she's just got that look.
She was like one of my first crushes. Like,
me too. Like Rocketeer.
Rocketeer.
Yeah.
Like not Labyrinth. We were a little too young.
She was too annoying in that too.
God, but Rocketeer though,
yeah.
It's like you just hit that age where it's just like, oh, am I like into girls now? And she comes out singing that sultry song in the lounge. I'm just like, yes, I am.
Well, technically, she sung the song in Dark City. She did wear a similar dress in Rocketeer.
Oh,
but
she
it was
did.
in
Oh
Dark
no,
City
she wore the dress. That's right.
Yeah,
with
it's very similar though.
What was it? It was Timothy Dalton's. What was his name? Neville Sinclair.
Yes.
I'm not serious.
But so
that's right. They're very. We're getting off topic, but I just want to say they're very similar roles. Her role in Dark City and that.
Well, similar outfits, definitely. Yeah. But that's the thing. She always kind of played these roles, whereas she played them fine. Like I saw House of Sand and Fog. She was very, very good in that. But she mostly just. Actually, I should say. The drug Requiem for a Dream. She was also very good in that.
Oh yeah.
But something here where she's like it just gives you the death glare from far away. Like, the first time she's introduced, she just walks and she just has this death glare. It's just like, ooh. She's just striking.
I'm not gonna lie, she was giving off that kind of Michael Keaton sort of like, I don't have to say much. You'll just get complex personality out of my expressions.
And so many of the people in this movie are like that. And I really miss that. And that's something Rodriguez always has down. Man, does he cast his movies just so well. I mean, you think of just the actors in Sin
Well, and her
City and stuff,
character-
and he must direct them well too, because like in Sin City, half of them never even met, and you just swear
I thought
they're
it
talking
was
to each
a
other.
bit of a stroke of genius to retain her character, because her character's not in the manga. That's an OVA. The Sheeran is in the OVA, and then Grishinka, what is his name?
The big bad guy.
Yeah,
or
he's
whatever.
in the OVA. But they kept those over, and I like the way it kind of fused the two. So this feels like, okay, this is in the OVA or the manga. Now we're fusing those two. So this is now a third iteration that feels different, which I thought was super cool. And it gave her like a chance to kind of craft an interesting character out of it.
Yeah, there's any time in the movie, it's kind of like Aquaman. Anytime it starts to feel long, like, okay, yeah, I'm starting to feel the length a little bit, something cool would happen. And I'd just be like, okay, I'm back. I'm back in this movie. There's two things, in my opinion, that do not work, and they're not awful, but they are the two things I'm like, okay, I can see why some people, like the chinks in the armor, can't really start the show there. One is the boyfriend in this. I think is miscast. And taking out, even if you don't read the manga or the OVA.
We don't hate this actor. It just because he's trying. It's just like it's not the one from either the OVA or the manga.
No, it's pretty much this character, and you can tell even by the end, this is supposed to be someone he's big-eyed and hopeful, and he wants to get to this place, and all sorts of terrible things happen along the way, and they're supposed to be, like, he's charming, but they're supposed to be kind of a street rat, pathetic, like he lives on the streets thing, and this dude's way too much of a...
street rat. I don't buy it.
This guy's way too much of, like, a... surfer body, hey, yeah, I want to go to the city up there, kind of thing.
He looks like he dropped out of every young adult movie ever made.
Yeah.
Like you
And
could
that's
go
a problem.
any of these YA novels, like it just looks like he was just pieced together from that, and his acting's actually fine. Like I feel
it is.
I feel a little bad because we're gonna dump on him a bit, but it's not.
It's just miscasting.
Yeah, Yugo is supposed to be such a level of. What'd you say, pathetic?
Yeah. Well, I mean, hopeful. I mean, he can be a little tough too, but there is this. He's the nobody, the person that people just kick out of the way, and he's like, I'm gonna be something. You
Here's my problem. His is supposed to be like a big tragedy, whereas in this one they play it off more like he's Kaneda from Akira, a little more. He's like a little too streetwise, a little too put together, and it just wasn't gelling. And then at the end, like. The problem where I started to lose it with the movie.
Again, we'll try not to give anything away here.
Well, I don't know what I'm gonna say. I just realized, we should probably have a spoiler.
Yeah, give the general.
The ending to the OVA has a real emotional weight to it. Like it's super powerful. It's a great visual. The characters involved just seem crazed. Like, it's really just crazy and sad and tragic to watch. And in this one, what should be a tragedy comes off as just like...
Come on, man.
Yeah. And
Let's
then,
go.
Whoops. Like,
he's got a... I'm just doing this, man. What? Where it's like, there is kind of like an insanity. There's an insanity to the rest of the movie and the characters that I feel like it's not
Imagine here's the best way I can put it. Imagine you're telling the exact same story. But in the OVA, you get Michelle Pfeiffer as Selena Kyle, but in the movie, you get Anne Hathaway as Selena Kyle. It's like, one was really complex, deep, and crazed, and this and that, and then you've got Anne Hathaway.
Yeah, which
and
is
it's
like,
not that I'm saying,
she's
Anne
fine,
Hathaway's
but it's
terrible.
like, dude, yeah.
I thought she was fine in Dark Knight Rises, but it's like, but if you're telling that, if they're supposed to be the exact same character, they're not. But let's imagine you're remaking that movie. No, that doesn't work. Like they're completely different.
And the second problem, that is a major problem. But again, I didn't mind because it was done well enough. But it's not that there's necessarily too much going on. It's that the motivations behind everybody, they're there, but they're not super well defined.
Having
you don't
watched
quite
the OVA
feel
and
them.
read the manga, it's like we have the advantage. I feel like had I not done either, I might have been a little more lost.
It's like I followed it, but okay. So simple question: what's the a lot of things happen in Lord of the Rings, but what's it about? This ring that this bad guy had, they have to get rid of it. Inception, it's a super complicated story, but what's it about? They have to go in a dream to get this information to get their lives back. Got it. This one, what's it about? It's like, well, this girl has a past, this robotic body, and then she meets this boy, but then there's like this motorball thing, and then there's the city up there she kind of wants to get to, but then first it's like, it's not a simple
and this is
motivation.
Where, like, I have to give so much credit to that OVA. I know some people don't like it. It's like, they truncated the manga and it's only an hour long, but they cherry-picked in such a way that they gave you a pretty succinct story. And it's like, no, it's about this girl who was put back together, and it's about this kid, and they're both trying to get up there. It's this journey, this climb up, and the tragedy of it. And like, you're right about this, because when they started to get back to that whole plot idea, it was like the last 30 minutes, and like they're reintroducing it again, like, we gotta go up to Salem or whatever, and I'm just like, oh yeah, that still needs to be in this movie. Whereas
it felt they're playing rollerball for a bit.
Yeah, it felt way more like a focus in the OVA because they had to truncate it and condense it down into that. And the rollerball, to me, I enjoyed. I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed her playing the street ghetto version of rollerball earlier on in the movie than I did the actual rollerball sequences.
I thought that scene was pretty cool, but again, there was a little bit more motivation.
Yeah.
She's trying to get the attention of the boy, and she's trying to learn her body and everything, whereas the other one, it's like, well, okay, I guess we're doing this to get money, you know.
Well, and here's the problem. It's just, the effects overall are really good. There was something about the rollerball, it was reminding me a little vaguely of like the Wachowski Speed Racer movie, where I'm like, man, now I just feel like I'm watching 99.9% fakery.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It was really, like,
it doesn't feel like it's there, but it's cool.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was well
still
put together.
Cool
and I will say this. So the interesting thing about this is she feels more softer, rounder around the edges, personality-wise, more girlish in this one versus the OVA or the manga.
The OVA she had.
Think of the way she's drawn versus the way she's constructed in this movie.
I have a bit of a criticism with that, but I'll get to that. I actually really like the way she's done in this movie.
But I'll say this: it did make. I'm not saying that as a criticism. I'm not saying because they made her cuter in this than in the manga or the OVA that therefore it's bad. In some ways, it makes it a little more interesting because they do evolve her character, and by the time she shows up at Rollerball, that's her in the OVA and the manga. Like, all of a sudden, I'm just like, it was like flash. I'm like, oh, there she is. Like, almost like they've been developing her to a point that now it's just like, now she's truly badass. Like, she's gonna take these bastards out. And I thought it made the rollerball scene probably wouldn't have been as interesting to me if it didn't have that vibe of like, yeah, now we're gonna see her really kick ass and not get her ass handed to her like she did earlier.
She knows the odds are against her even more than before with a scene that happens, and she doesn't run away. She's like, okay, like,
and even saying, Alita, it's a trap, and just like, which ones want to kill me? All of them. And
she's just like, okay, all right, yeah. And they set it up again very much like in the manga that's kind of, it's not just the brain, but kind of the body that she has now has that motivation. That's the one thing I'm shocked they didn't do more of in this, because that feels like the most cinematic to me, is in the manga, they have it where it's like, yeah, she's kind of a everyday, run-of-the-mill girl, she likes boys, she likes to flirt a bit and stuff, but the body that she's given, the berserker body, sort of changes her mind a little bit, and I love that battle between mind and body, literally mind and body, and I thought that would have been interesting when she got the berserker in this, like, it kind of changed her around too, but it doesn't quite. She's already kind of on her way there, and it's still good progression, but I thought that is such an interesting element, and even the big bad guy, the one that she's hunting for a while, they tap on that in the manga too, that he talks about, what he became when he got his body, or, going from mind to mind and body to body and how it changes you, and it's like, that would have been so fascinating, but I also get there's a lot going on too.
Yeah, and I'll say this, the world building in this is a sight to behold. Like, this is definitely a film you should see on the big screen.
In IMAX 3D, looks great.
It just...
How many destroyed cities have we seen? We're tired of it. It's been done to death. Well, it looks beautiful.
All credit to Kishiro's manga for that. Because if you read that manga, it's gorgeous. And, like, some of the artwork in it
city,
is amazing. And you could tell they just took one look at that. And the OVA, which had a more limited budget definitely compared to this, but like they looked at both and just like, all right, let's do this. Let's take as many hard drives as it takes, and punch this world out. And I thought it was amazing.
I thought for the scenes that look, like, oh, well, that's obviously CGO, that looks a little fake, whatever. Like, the stuff that was not distracting to me and looked legitimately good. I mean, that one bounty hunter that was kind of hunting her. I mean, I'm just looking at him, I'm like, I know he's CG, but he just looks so good. I mean, like, so much of that body was just looking so and it's a typical Terminator body, and it's looking so good.
And I know we like it as a guilty pleasure because we thought it was so bad it's good. Like, it was hilariously awful of a train wreck. This is the movie Valerian wanted to be. Like, I feel looking at this and all the world building that went on in this one.
Cool.
Yeah. It's gorgeous. There's CGI everywhere, but whereas Valerian, we were kind of laughing at it. It was just so... I laughed at this movie a lot, but I was laughing because I was having a great time. Like, ha, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like, not, I can't believe they went with that take.
Yeah, and I feel like the only other thing missing, like I said, I think really would have just made this a pure, awesome 80s flick. Like 80s cyberpunk.
I want to be a little more adult.
Gore.
Yeah. Some gore. That's what I mean.
I really think, like I said, they get away with a lot. Don't get me wrong. But literally, I think, like, I don't know, page 4 of the manga, like the big, the big strong robot that just takes someone, rips open their heads with their eyes flying out and stuff, and eats his brains.
I love that manga.
I mean, there is so much brain eating in the other, and that's why. And this is James Cameron. He's done some very gory movies, so I really thought, man, it's gonna be cool. We're gonna get that here. And do you think they shot it originally like that? Because with the blue blood coming out of them, and even sort of the way it's shot, I'm not sure.
No, $1,000 is
like when they kill the.
It was always blue blood because when they slice up, when Ito gets his arm sliced and Yugo gets cut up, like, you see red blood. The blue blood, I think, was always to just delineate between humans and cyborgs. And it's like Ash in Alien has white blood, but there's a scene where, again, it's not even a major character, but there's a scene where a character gets his head cut off, and you see, like, these little wires and stuff, but the character's supposed to be dead. And I'm like, but wait, wouldn't it be more clear if when they killed him, it'd be blood coming out? And I'm thinking to myself, I wonder if it was blood. I wonder if they just changed it up. I don't know, but
I don't know. But that is the one thing where I'm like, man, this would have been like RoboCop, man, if they only had
that's
that.
what bothered me, because I'm like, this is one step removed from a Verhoeven film.
Yeah.
Like, it's just
like old school Verhoeven,
extra steps. Like, this is an 80s movie, and part of it's because the manga started in 1990 and the OVA was like 94, so it already felt old to begin with, but it's just like, yeah, this has that cyberpunk 80s vibe to it. Just with this 90s kid for some reason as the love interest.
I was gonna say,
except for him.
With every character that pops up in this, aren't you immediately like, who's that? Don't you want to know more about them? I mean, you just see them. And you're like, I want to know more about that person. With the exception of I forget, one other casting choice I didn't think, again, not awful, but I'm like, Ito's, is Ito or Ito? I forget.
Ito.
Ito's assistant in this. Remember how he looked in the comic and the OVA? And they replace him with this actress who does fine,
just somebody,
but is totally forgettable. But the one in the comic and the anime is just this. What a great design! It's this heavy guy, squinty eyes, and just I don't know about that. He's got the sleeves rolled up, and just one of those designs where you say, I want to know more about this guy, and this one is just like some assistant lady. It's
I got so wrapped up in the movie, I wasn't even thinking about that much. But no, you're 100% correct.
But that's about it. Like, everyone else, I think we leaned over at some point. I'm just like, man, like, everyone in this is interesting.
I think my only gripe, well, the ending, which I like to punch in the OVA, like, track down the OVA and watch if you can, because the final image of that, I'll just say with the balloon,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Well, I'm just telling them out there in YouTube.
It's very poetic.
It's one of the best endings to an anime I've seen. It was a very poetic image, and this one just sequel baits at the end. So all of that emotional oomph that you had in the OVA, it's literally just like, well, we're gonna do that same scene really quickly. It's gonna be kind of like, oh, bye. And then it's just literally like sequel baiting, like, yeah, I'm coming for you, next movie. And
it doesn't even feel like it has a climax. Like again, for the OVA, I mean, the OVA is really weird because, like, I guess
it's 2 half hours special.
But, like, a lot of people die.
Oh, yeah.
In these 2 half hours, more than this 2-hour movie.
But that's because the manga wasn't even done yet, so it's just like, this might be our only shot.
But that's what I'm saying, is that they still had climaxes at the end, and they felt like they were kind of building up to this, where this one, it's like, bunch of cool shit and you're following it, and then just, oh, that was kind of cool, and then this guy, and that's kind of cool, and then that's good, and then it's just kind of over. It's like, I needed a climax.
I can legitimately say, like, and I remember turning to you and I'm like, all right, up until the last 5 minutes, I was pretty much in love with this movie, and, like, this ending is the only thing I hate. I'm like, this ending sucks. Like, compared to what it could have been and what you had in the OVA, and
a lot
the
of
manga
that
doesn't really end. They're like, the volume... Man, not even volume 1 ends where we think like that continues into volume 2, but so I didn't like that, and then I don't like the eyes. I can't.
I think it's I think it shows immediately.
I get it. I know Brad and Tamara said, like,
that.
I totally forgot about the eyes, and I know I've heard other people. I didn't.
There's a couple times.
Whenever there was a close-up, I was just like, God! Like,
no, and
I remember in the middle, I was just like, Janine, got the bug eyes thing on. And Alita, sorry about the bug eyes thing, be in my office.
I can't act like I don't get that. I mean, yeah, there are a couple times where just everything looks so real. It's like, oh yeah, those giant eyes.
So the weird thing is, from a distance, now the long shots of her, where she's like, you can see her whole figure and she's got to be like 30 feet away from the camera. I mean, digitally inserted, but she looked fine. Like, because the eyes everything kind of shrinks down, and I'm like, okay, if I don't focus on the eyes at that distance, she looks like a normal, like, kind of human being. Like, but God, in those close-ups, it was driving me up a wall.
Yeah,
and
I know what you mean.
I don't get it. I don't get the excuse. Like, I've heard this excuse, like, well, in anime they've got big eyes. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah, but they all have big eyes.
Yes, that's the point. I think there's like, well, she's got to have big eyes because she was drawn that way in the manga. She looks no different in the manga than anybody else from what I remember. They all have big eyes. So in this one, as far as I can remember in this movie, she's the only character with big eyes.
Well, one other one does.
There was the other model, I guess. Yeah. But I'm just like, but that just kept, because then I kept sitting there in the middle of the flashbacks going like, so why did they make these models have big eyes? Who was the artist?
But even then, you can immediately tell them apart too, which I like. But to me, I think so many people do want to see. I mean, I think it's fair to say so many people want to see an anime come to life. They want to see a live-action representation.
Okay, I just saw it and it creeped me the fuck out.
No, and I get that. Again, I'm not gonna act like, what's wrong with you? I get it, but I think that was such a clever way because she is a robot. Not only is she a robot, but she's one that's like really, really old and super advanced and like really distinct, and people would look at her and be like, there's cyborgs everywhere, but like you see her and it's like, who's that? And so I really think that helps.
As if there would be no other way to imply that she's different. No, we had to give her big eyes, and that's what.
But it's something that's
even stranger when you think about like, you were created as the universe's ultimate battle machine, and we gave you giant, cute, googly eyes. Like, isn't that sweet? Like, why would you do that? That doesn't even make any sense from a design choice.
Maybe makes you see more.
I don't know. But it's like, yes, anime has big eyes. That is a stylistic choice. It came from the fact that early on, I think it was an homage to basically Tezuka and other people who were sort of copying Disney. And then the Japanese also, they kind of view eyes as like a window to the soul, so that the larger, more innocent the eyes, it indicates you're an innocent character. And then villains will often have like kind of shady eyes, or they'll be squintier, so the idea is you can't see into them. It means they're like complex or evil. So it's a stylistic choice, and they all have that. It's not just like, oh, Alita was the only one drawn with big eyes, so why make her the only one with big eyes in the movie?
But I feel like characters like, again, going back to Gunnm, he has these big eyes, in Lord of the Rings. And of course, he's been alive for years and years, so he's gonna look like that,
He's also a mutant. The ring gives you big eyes.
But she's a robot, I mean,
but
she's
why
this
make
robot.
Her like that?
No, but she's this robot supposed to stand out. Everybody looks at her and says, something about her stands out. Something is different about her, because there's a million cyborgs in this, and that's something that none of the others have, and that stands out, and she looks much more like the anime character.
So it makes her stand out in the manga? she can kill you with a flick of the wrist. I don't
that
know.
doesn't stand out. A lot of anime girls can do that.
I don't know. It in no way wrecked the movie. It didn't wreck the movie. I'm not saying like, and still go see it, absolutely. But it really was one of those things where I'm like, no, I never did get over that. I'm like, if you threw $100 million at me and are just like remake parts of this movie, I'm like, step one, remove those eyes. You want to keep her entirely CGI? All right, maybe we can do that because I see why they did that now. I get it to a certain degree.
It sort of makes her look
the
freakish
eyes,
too, which I like. That she is kind of the outcast. She is kind of the one that's like, "What are you, you weird freak, you weird thing?" And that's just something.
Except they didn't do that. My favorite was it Jennifer Connelly? Like one of the characters said, "Is like, you're so beautiful," and I was like, "Is she? Is she really?"
I do remember that. I was just like. Was that what you were going for?
Is that like?
I mean, she looks great, but it's not like, wow, what a beautiful angel. You know, even though it's Battle Angel, but it's just like.
I will give it this. Had they gone the route, like if this is supposed to be like Dumbo, where they make fun of his big ears, had they gone the route where they're just like, "What's up with your eyes?" Like, and be like, "Your eyes are weird," and like basically like make her self-conscious. At least would have made more sense.
They see so much weird shit anyway. It has to be something that's weird, but like is distinct as well. I mean, I don't know. I thought that was a very clever, both very small and very big thing to help her stand out, and it makes her look more
I don't
like
know. Zapan was still obsessed with his face. His face seemed pretty put together. It seems like most people, when it comes to their face and stuff, she was the only one with those eyes, which means somebody built her like that.
That's what I mean. Yeah, that's why people be like, well, who is that? What is that? You know, kind of thing. So I'm not gonna act like I don't get it. They're big, they're freaky, they can be distracting. I'm not gonna act like I don't get it. I thought that added to the character. I thought that added to what she was and everything else. But I get it. It can be distracting.
The weird thing is, in doing so. And I said, like, I'm not against making her character a little more naive, innocent, like, girlish in this one versus the OVA and manga, where I felt like she was a little more put together earlier on. But in giving her the big eyes, she actually looks less like the manga to me. Like, it doesn't look right. I'm like, God, she looks less like what we got in the OVA. Because in the OVA, her eyes aren't insanely huge, as huge compared to some other anime I've seen. So it just doesn't come off right any way I slice it.
It's funny you were talking about sort of comparing her different characters to the OVA and the manga. 'Cause something I liked in the manga, again, this goes back to the mind versus body, is that I really like when, most of the manga, she's like, I'm going to find this person, I'm going to get here. I mean, she's just so self-driven, she's got the killer, instinct. And then Ito would say something like, wow, you're really maturing. And she'd go, oh, am I? Like, she'll suddenly go really girlish, like a girl her age would. Or when she sees...
Senpai noticed me!
when she sees Hugo for the first time, and she has a crush on him, she blushes and stuff, and this monster that she already defeated comes back up, and he's like, stand back, and she just goes, eek, I'm scared! Like, she's doing... And then she kicks his ass, like, behind without him noticing. That's something, like, a girl who has a crush would do.
Exactly.
And I like that versus, and I was hoping a little bit more
I feel
of that.
earlier on in this one, she was just... Like, she has moments of badassery, but it's definitely like they're trying to portray her as like, no, she's just a teenage girl, and then she evolves, which I'm not saying is a bad thing.
Yeah, honestly, especially for a 2-hour movie, I feel like this is the route
it's definitely different than the manga that way. And as somebody who was I had to get over it, because as somebody who was very used to the concept of, she has those girlish moments, but like then she flips on a switch and is badass again. I was so used to the badass part of Alita that in this one, initially I was just like, oh, but I got really wrapped up
in the comic. It's kind of flipped. She's mostly badass, and then once in a while she'd do like the kind of thing.
But I got used to it, and honestly, like her relationship with Ito, like it was really like legitimately sweet.
Yeah, it's very,
in a way
very
that
charming.
they're a little more rougher, I think, in the OVA and the manga, and particularly in the manga, I don't think he was ever. He's not. Shirin isn't in it, like, so there's no wife character, so it's like this guy creating a doll.
Yeah, it's actually a little weird early on. He's like, I want to put you in dresses.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a little weird.
It has this Japanese sort of like old guy commentary going on where you're just like, okay, otaku, like let's play with your dolls some other time. Like,
God damn, is Christoph Waltz good.
I just like it. Even in crap, I like him. Like, I just love him.
Ironic, I just realized I'm saying this. Did you ever see him in Big Eyes?
Yes. And I'm not saying that
But just ironic that we bring up Big Eyes in the Alita
He's
review.
Both great because he's not great in that. Like, I just can watch him in anything.
That's the one where I was just like, what happened here? But no, he's really amazing, and everyone in here. I mean, like I said, like 98% of the actors just nail it so good, and they're so interesting.
I'm
and
happy
it looks great.
They kept all of the key concepts. Like, I think something I really loved about this manga and OVA and even this movie is like, it always felt very Metropolis inspired to me. The haves, the have-nots, the delineation.
Yeah, the garbage going deeper below, not giving a shit.
And then particularly like, it just keeps going full circle because then we also had the anime version of Metropolis, which also reminds me of this. And like, I like all three of those versions. Like, Metropolis is all versions of Metropolis are like my favorite movie. I love the anime version. I love the old.
It's one of those stories that really has everything, doesn't it? Like everything film. You can kind of like in a big story.
It's so stylized and that kind of Art Deco vibe, and it's just great. And this manages to be like, it's the furthest from Metropolis in both style, but it just has that vibe to it where I'm like, I recognize this as a Metropolis story, even though this is cyberpunk, whereas those, like the original Metropolis, I don't know what you would even call it, maybe like steampunk. I don't know what it is, and then the anime, I guess, would be kind of a little more cyberpunk. But I don't know, like those themes, I think, are like universal. It's very like monomyth,
That's
Star
always
Wars, Hero of a Thousand Faces type stuff, where it just you feel like this story will never go away.
The rich and successful crap on the poor and needy and stuff like that, you know.
But just the visuals of it.
That's what I mean.
The visuals of climbing up.
The powerful, I should say.
I love that cable. That was my favorite thing in the OBA.
Yeah, climbing the cable.
And then the evil guys up top just launching the little like the buzzsaw that comes down. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Man, it does remind, even like, okay, we'll wrap this up soon, but even like, without giving away too much in the OVA, just like that, again, we're not giving away too much, but climbing the cable, what a big deal that was and how much time they dedicated to that because they were building it up. And this one just happens, you're just kind of there.
I hate that ending!
Yeah, it is like,
Like, for those who have not seen the OVA or read the manga, or do that just to know, because when people are like, well, I didn't read it, I don't know what's different. It's not different in that they changed the plot point. It's different in that there's so little emphasis on it. And like, that is one of the central themes of the OVA, and to see it just so glossed over. Like, okay, that is the death of Gwen Stacy. Like, that's the best we could. Think of the death of Gwen Stacy in Spider-Man and think about how they did it in Amazing Spider-Man 2. That's the difference. You don't look at it and go, it's like, oh, well, it's completely different. It's like, no, she still falls off. She still dies. Spider-Man can't save her in time. The Green Goblin's involved. But when you look at the execution of it, you're just like, wow, did they blow it?
Yeah.
So that's...
No spoilers on this movie, but spoilers on Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, well,
who doesn't know that now? Who even... A lot of people don't like that.
That's my biggest gripe. But I do, like, despite those smaller gripes, I hope this movie does well. I know it's not a complete bomb, but it's not making the money they wanted it to. And
I hope word of mouth catches.
I hope word of mouth.
I don't know, with How to Train Your Dragon coming out, though, I don't know.
They're banking on overseas, which is the ultimate irony, because the OVA, when it was released in Japan...
Wasn't a hit in Japan.
But
did better here.
And it went overseas, was a huge hit here, has this cult following, which is why Cameron grabbed it up, sat on it for 21 years so nobody else could do anything. Now it's released. Now it's a failure here. And hopefully maybe Japan can go save it. I don't know. Or China. Or
I can see why some people don't get all the way into it. But I think the stuff that's really good in this is so friggin' cool, so entertaining, so creative, such a visual wonder, and the characters are likable, and it's just
I would recommend
awesome
it.
movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
I
definitely
was
would
a
too.
huge doubter.
Yeah.
Like, this is one that I'm gonna freaking eat my words the rest of the year. Like, damn it, was that really not bad? I really thought that was gonna suck. Because the bar has been set so low for anime adaptations.
That's true. I mean, is this the best
Maybe
live
we're-
action
maybe we're coming
anime
around-
adaptation? Might be.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I can't think of another one.
I mean, they've mostly been bad.
Was it gonna
but-
be the DBZ movie? Like, what?
Rob, a little masterpiece called Death Note?
Yeah, Ghost in the Shell with Scarlett Johansson. No, like, this is hands down the best anime adaptation I've ever seen. It feels like an anime, and it nailed most things right.
Yeah. And I don't know. I've only read volume 1 of the manga, so I don't know the
I've read 'em
entire
all.
story. I mean, it seems like most of it's
again,
here.
it was so
but
long ago.
so I don't know like all of it. But at the same time, I'm feeling like even people that don't. Like, they might feel like they're missing a thing or two, but it's like, I feel like they would follow it and enjoy it
Here's
and
what
get
I would
the
hope.
idea
I would hope
and like
somebody
the
would
characters.
watch this, not get all of it, but go, man, I'm really interested to
I
find
want to
out
learn more. Yeah.
Maybe I'll pick up the manga. Maybe I'll watch the OVA.
There's things
Maybe
in Lord of the Rings that aren't
um,
entirely made clear, and that makes
yeah.
people want to go and read the book, but they're still invested.
I'm
they're still
hoping that's
interested.
what happens. I think going with that mindset that you may not know every single thing that's going on here, though I thought they did a damn good job of explaining
they did
most
too.
things. I felt like even if I didn't read the manga or see the OVA, I wouldn't be lost.
Christoph Waltz was getting a little exposition-y at some point. I was
Yeah.
kind of like, okay, there's only so
But
much
is
I
it-
can hear. Well, this does that, and this person is that, but he does it so
Was
well.
any of his exposition worse than anything in the Avengers? And look at what a moneymaker that is.
No, and he is so good at it. He's so good at just all the lines.
Yeah, he
says.
sells that. When he showed up in that hunter outfit for the first time, I was like,
With
yes,
the-
with the
Yeah, the rocket thing. I
Oh,
love it.
sorry, that was
Oh.
fan service for us.
Yeah,
I just-
no, there's a couple scenes where I was like,
But yeah, I think it's super cool. There's problems there, and some people might get a little lost, but I think it's totally worth it. Like, I would go see it. Like, please throw money at this.
yeah, I want to see
Please
another
throw
one,
money
man.
at it. And
I wanna see a
I said the
sequel.
same thing about Into the Spider-Verse, where like
Yeah, go see it, please.
I know we didn't know at the time if people were going to respond to it or not, because like
Yeah.
we didn't know, and then like it turns out everybody loves it. But at the time, I'm like, I don't know if people are going to like this, but please throw your money.
Yeah, please go see it. And see it
this
on
one-
IMAX and
this one's
3D.
same
It's
thing,
so
like,
beautiful.
throw your money at this. And I'll say this: if it's not a success and they don't want to make more, for God's sakes, James Cameron, just do the anime then. Just like make a 13-episode series, make it an
Do a
anime.
Netflix show, man. Come on. Just
you
do it.
ma-
Get the same
you-
people. You can
could-
afford them.
Yeah, you could get through the whole manga in a Netflix series. They had multiple episodes a season. So do that, because that is the only thing that's bothered me about him sitting on the rights. Is I'm like, I've wanted an anime of Alita, like something that delves deeper than the OVA
Yeah.
for 20 odd years now, and we haven't gotten it because he owns it.
Yeah. So,
So.
I like it, man. You know, are people liking this? I don't know. I know critics are very, very mixed. If I had to guess, I would say people are probably mixed, but I don't know. Maybe people are loving it. Maybe they're not. I don't know.
I don't get the mixed critical response.
It doesn't seem like there's enough to really be like, no, I can't recommend it. Like,
I feel like even most cynical critics would begrudgingly recommend and be like, it's got a lot of problems, and and it's better than some of the other things we get.
You know what
in
it
the
could
year,
be? Because it's not Titanic, it's not Avatar, it's an action cyberpunk movie, and that could be why they're thinking, well, I want the next grand...
just hilarious, because I thought this movie was way better than Avatar.
You think?
What I loved about Avatar was the visuals. There was nothing about that story I liked. Not a single goddamn thing.
That's why it pisses me off. I'm like,
This one has
so much
this
better.
one has
The
visuals.
world's
I mean,
better.
it may not be the same visual. It may not be as visually impressive as Avatar, but this one has impressive visuals, and the story's actually good
Yeah.
because it was based on the manga and not whatever James Cameron farted out his ears.
Rob, he didn't fart it out. Pocahontas did, and
There you go,
Ferngully,
yes.
and Dances with Wolves, and didn't he write in college when those movies came out? So it's like, of course that's what
You know, when the Marines in those giant mechs were singing "Toxic Love," I knew we were in trouble.
So, guys, that's about it. Go check it out.
See you
I
later.
want a sequel. I want a sequel.
It's worth it.
So that's it. Later. Bye.